Welcome back 5A and 5B to Grammar Sprinkled with Sugar. Today's lesson is on page 422 of your red book. It is all about different marks of punctuation. Sugar, are you paying attention? Because these marks of punctuation are important. You're practically an expert. So let's get to know these marks of punctuation on page 422. Mr. Spafford is making a banana shake at the current time during the study. Just be aware. The first punctuation mark is the colon. And you've seen it before, it's one period above another. And I know you've been studying the digestive system in science. And there's a colon in your body, but this is the colon of grammar. The colon of grammar is used when you're showing time. For example, if Sugar goes to bed at 8 p.m., notice the colon that's showing the time. If she wakes up at 10 a.m., there is a colon showing that time. Colons can also be used when listing items, and you can see that example on page 422. Another punctuation mark is the hyphen. It's a small little line that's lifted up, the hyphen. You've seen it. Sugar, are you paying attention? Because it kind of looks like you need to sign the book a little bit. Sugar, listen, it's important. The hyphen is when you have two words that are not compound words, but they're going together in the sentence. And they might as well be compound words, but they're not. Here's an example. Sugar is a 29-pound, four-legged sweet pug. We use the hyphen in the number 29. Always use a hyphen when you're writing numbers as words. 29. Four-legged. This is not a compound word, but it might as well be in this sentence. So we put the hyphen there to show the connection between these two words. A hyphen. Yes, Sugar. You are four-legged and you are 29 pounds. The next punctuation mark is the semicolon. Semicolon. Look at it. That's it's like a comma with a period on top of it. This symbol, this mark, is used when you're putting two independent clauses together and you're not using the conjunction and comma. Remember we talked about putting two sentences together and then we had the conjunction and a comma? That's great. But if you didn't want to use the conjunction and comma, you would use the semicolon. Here we go. Sugar is almost deaf. She barely hears thunder. Two independent clauses. And instead of the comma and, we put in the semicolon. Okay? Either one is perfectly correct. Italics and underlining. Are you listening, Sugar? Because this is important. Okay, we've got some punctuation to know. Italics is that way of writing that is not, there's regular writing on the computer and then there's italics. It shows it's kind of slanted or wavy. And you all know what it means to underline something. But when do you do that? You use italics to show the title of a book when you're on the computer. If you're writing with your pen or your pencil and you want to show the title of a book, you underline it. You don't do both. You do one or the other. Now, Sugar, have you been doing some reading? Have you been doing some reading? Have you been reaching your AR goal? Let's see. She's been reading A Dog Year. So if we were talking about what she was reading, we would write a dog year in italics, or we would underline it. What else have you been reading, Sugar? The pug. You're reading all about your ancestors. The pug. It should be, use italics on the computer or underline it if you're writing it. I hope you reach your goal. The last mark of punctuation is the dash. It's longer than a hyphen. See that? And whenever you use one dash, you end up using two. You don't ever just use one dash. It goes before or after something that is interrupting the sentence. Some comment. Here's an example. Sugar has many treats. Grease bread, for example, throughout the day. You see how this grease bread, for example, interrupts the flow of the sentence? We put a dash before the interruption and after it. It's longer. You can dash. Put the dash in. On page 422, there are other examples at the top of the page for these punctuation marks. Just reviewing. We have the colon, the hyphen, the semicolon, the italics or underlining, and the dash. Well, Sugar, I'm glad you decided to pay attention right here at the end, because you're about to do that page. Are you going to raise your hand and say you don't understand? Are you ready for a nap? Sugar and I are saying good luck on page 422, and we'll see you next time.